Let's talk about the spiritual war between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. But from an astrology aspect, I thought that this would be fun to dive into as well. Now, I'd love to know your theories on what you think is going on. Let me share my theories. One of them could be that I feel like Jake Paul is the sacrificial lamb to Tyson. And this may be out of possible blackmail, but it could also be out of his own evolution and growth that he's choosing to do this. He's chosen to be the heel, he's chosen to be the villain in his idea. But in a lot of ways, I feel like it is a very big spiritual war about villains. And we'll get into that in a second. When you look at Mike Tyson, right, this is somebody who has undergone an immense amount of therapy. Right? He already was strong mentally and physically, but therapy allowed him to be incredibly strong emotionally and insightful. And I really find it interesting that Tyson is born with a Mars in Gemini. So in my astrology formulas, I say that Mars is how you win, right? I did one breakdown for Kendrick versus Drake, and you'll see that how it was described that this is why Drake is still moving, right? But back to Tyson. When you have Mars and Gemini, right, this is very interesting. Mars and Gemini is a talker. It's a heavy talker and is moving in ways that allows people to understand, right? And I think that Tyson is using incredible restraint in the footage that I've seen of him lately. So like he has a Mars and Gemini. He naturally is a podcaster and has devoted himself to doing that. But when it's time for him to get back in the ring, right, it's a different vibe. And there's a level of silence that he cultivates. And I don't think he's doing that to project manipulation or control. It's just his Mars and Gemini either wins by speaking or not. It's speaking or not. When you choose not to speak, especially as a Gemini, when you're choosing not to speak, that's also speaking volumes. A part of me feels like he is withholding because he's really in the zone and everything outside of him is noise. And when you deal with Gemini, people with personal Gemini, they have a lot of noise inside of them, you know? So especially the personal ones like Moon, Venus, Mars, Sun, right? You're getting a lot of noise inside of you. And so this is the cultivation of silence that I feel is helping him to win. And when we look at Mars and Mars is how you win, it's not just a superficial win, like how he wins the boxing match. It's how he wins in general, right? Really also interesting to point out that having a Mars Gemini, right? You can either have people who are lethal at the mouth with their words, but you can also have them lethal with their what? Their hands. Mars and Gemini, lethal with his hands. Let's take a look at Jake Paul. So Jake Paul's chart shows that he has a Mars in Libra. So you'll see that his spiritual war is more political, right? Versus a Mars and Gemini whose spiritual war is more hands-on, let's just say, right? So when we're dealing with Libra, we're dealing with politics. We're looking at how can we advance society through overcoming injustices and justices. And I'm going to get to that in a second because I'm going to show you why the spiritual war is pretty equal in its equilibrium between Jake Paul and Tyson, not physical war. In my opinion, I think, I already have my biased opinion on who's going to win. But on the spiritual war, I do sense that Jake Paul is here to pull that out. Now, he said that he was inspired by an ayahuasca event. That would actually make a lot of sense because I do sense that he's being called spiritually. But I also feel like that could be a fib of some sort. And this is happening on a political stage. Mars and Libra, the politics, the governments, the people who guard the laws quite often are being utilized to fight to win. And that could definitely some sort of political advantage, either from the recent presidency or the certain movements that are happening, like the 4B movement. These are my theories, guys. You tell me what you think. But how does a Mars in Libra win, right? So, and I'm speaking on a spiritual level, right? Because, I already told you what I think is going to happen on the physical level. But we all are winners when we really tap into our Mars. And in understanding that Mars is your winner, it shows you your strength. So Jake Paul's strength is actually in debate. And his strength, because it's in Libra, Libra is a debater. His strength is in seeing what's right and wrong. That's huge for Libra. But quite often Libra, when they get too much in right and wrong, they become overly done, extreme, pompous. So Jake actually doing this through boxing, through entertainment, is spot on for his Mars and Libra. Instead of taking things to the court or being dry and being like, these political, theorists online, he actually takes entertainment, which is also Libra's thing, art, entertainment, and putting it on the stage. Now, Libra also represents the feminine, so Jake also is fighting for the feminine. That is a very big thing that I see here, and I see that, because he's got that Mars in Libra, and then I see Tyson as fighting for integrity with a Mars in Gemini, okay? So, if you guys check my Mars sheets, I have breakdowns so you could find your Mars, So Mars in Libra wins through, initiating diplomatic peace talks is one of the formulas that I have in the worksheets, right? So his Mars in Libra actually is initiating more of a debate, peace talk, but in a lot of ways Libra rules over the 7th house, which also rules over open enemies. So Libra rules over the people you partnership with, but it also rules over the person you're debating with, the person that you are against, right? And so his way of winning is by initiating these talks. So all of the media that you've seen, like Libra rules over air. Air is connected to communication. This is deeply connected to the arena of Jake Paul, his media, his peace talks. We call it peace talks, but a lot in boxing, it's it's the rollout before the fight. This is his strength. This is his strength, and this is how he wins. Because in a lot of ways, I feel like Jake Paul is trying to win a political advantage. He's trying to win for the women. He's trying to win, period, for something that may be less about boxing, but he uses the avenue, the entertainment of boxing to get there. That's what I see with Jake Paul's thing. Now, I'm going to dive into the dynasties created by Alicia Sharp. She really doesn't have anything out anymore where I can send to you to see this, but I love her dynasty system, and I'll just keep using it until somebody tells me not to. So when we look at the dynasties, we're actually looking at the moon placement specifically. And Tyson has the magnet, which is considered the king of the dynasty, and Jake Paul is the Black Knight. And what I understand about these it actually, when you see the name itself, right? Mike Tyson being the magnet. Also, Jay-Z has this dynasty, right? These are the men that things magnet towards. They come towards them. Women come towards them. Everything is drawn towards you. It's the king of the dynasty. Where Jake is actually in the same dynasty as Tyson, which is really cool, but he is the next up. So he's a tier lower, and this is on a personality level, right? So Tyson actually represents the rules of it all, right? The top of the creme of the creme, the creme of the crop, how you call it, right? And then Jake actually represents, when you look at the Black Knight, this energy is like a player, but it also is the one that defends the woman, the Black Knight. It's the one that defends his woman or the woman he's with at the moment, or women, the feminine. The Black Knight defends the feminine, right? He attacks the toxic masculine in defending women. So what's really fascinating about this is that you probably would say that Tyson was part of this toxic masculinity back in the day, when I was growing up watching him, right? He has absolutely reformed. He is he's exquisite in my opinion because of how well he was made peace with his past and brought it up. I mean, just the way he speaks, it brings me to tears because he truly is helping a lot of people. I feel also in the 4B movement, see the reformation of somebody, right? But on a spiritual level, I feel like Jake Paul, being the Black Knight, continues to say, I'm going to represent the feminine. I'm going to defend the feminine against this powerful, toxic masculine. And Mike Tyson is not that, but on a spiritual level, and especially from the past, he may represent that. Either way, the win for integrity versus the win for politics is on the line for tonight. If you guys would like to dive more into these formulas that I create for the planets, because the way I do astrology is combining astrology and manifestation, right? Take a look at the links below. You can check out my worksheets on Mars. You could check out getting your own Mars reading as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and love.